Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Mental Toughness and Body Show. My name is Rob Evans, and I'm your weight loss coach, health strategist, and internationally published author, helping take your life and your business and your health, fitness, mindset, and body from where you are right now to being absolutely unstoppable. And I've got a really special guest with me today, Dr. Bethany Dixon, who's all the way from Florida in the US. I'm assuming that's where you are. Are you in Florida?
I am in Florida, and it is beautiful, and it's sunny summer here, so not like what you're dealing with.
Yeah, stop it. Thanks for joining us, Bethany. So I'm just going to give you a little bit of an introduction. So she's a registered dietitian. She's a chiropractor, owns a series of clinics in the US specialising in a really particular niche with truck drivers, which is really, really fascinating, the work that she's doing. She's known as the driver's doctor, I believe. And
I am.
We met in 2009 over in US, a heap of fun, and I'm sure we're going to have a heap of fun and be very informative here today. So thanks so much for joining me, because I know it's early morning over there, late at night here.
It's my pleasure. It's great to be able to talk to the other side of the world. It's so exciting.
Yeah, it's great. It is great. Hey, so tell us a little bit about the work that you do, because I remember when I met you and you told me, I was sort of edgy your seat stuff. I thought, oh, wow, this is really great what you're doing. So tell us a little bit about it.
Sure. So I own clinics inside truck stops. So your professional truck drivers that keep the world running, you can't get anything without it having touched a truck. They need care, and nobody really thinks about them. So it's very difficult. Most of the truck drivers don't make it home at night, and a lot of them don't make it home in a week. Some of them don't even make it home and don't have a home. They actually live out of their truck.
Yeah.
So healthcare is incredibly difficult for them to have. They're also required to do things that a lot of America isn't required to do. So they're required to do physicals at least biannually, so every 2 years, some of them every year, depending on the health. They're required to do drug testing. So my clinics are actually inside truck stops, and they can just come in whenever they feel a need, and we do their physicals, their drug testing. I'm also a chiropractor, like you said, so I do chiropractic in there to keep their body the way it needs to go. I'm a dietitian, like you had said, so we talk about nutrition and food and how that impacts their life. And it's a totally different world out there when you're living in a truck and your food is only accessible as the truck stop or the location in which you're at.
So it's, I should just say, because I've just noticed on the screen there, I do just for the audience at home, because you noted it, I've got my cat here. If you're wondering what this head is, it's my cat. She's my podcast buddy, and she likes to be here because it's a bit cold here. So that work, because I don't think anything like that exists over here in Australia. Has that been around for a while, or have you sort of created this niche, or how have you gotten into it?
Yeah, so my father was a truck driver and a crane operator, and my husband is as well, because somehow you marry your father. I'm not sure how that works still. But it's very, very needed. And in the US, we have a law that came out in 2014 that said you had to be a specialized physician to do these DOT physicals. So it made me think, all right, if I'm going to put the money in this, I need to do it, because it costs extra money to be able to pass these board exams. So I had called one of the crane companies and said, can I do these for you? And they said, absolutely. And then I just thought, well, I love what I'm doing. Why not make it full time? So then I found a location, and I actually just rented a spot and put a clinic up, and it worked. So I put the other one up, and just from there kept on going. And it seems to be really working well. I now send doctors out to locations as well. Large companies that do a lot of pre-hires. There's one company where I do about 10 to 15 pre-hires every day. And so we go in there and set up shop in their clinic or in their terminal as well, and then make it easier for them. So, it's kind of, you build it, they come, and bring the people what they need where they need it.
Yeah, I think it's a great service that you provide, because if I look at like the clients that I get that come to me that are truck drivers, they have very poor health because of just the long periods of time they're driving. I mean, we've got a big country here where they could be driving 3,000 plus kilometers in a week, going from one end to the other. And like you say, they're living out of their truck. They're trying to clean up the act. I don't know how good it is now, but yeah, traditionally taking a lot of drugs and alcohol and that kind of stuff just to stay awake for these really long shifts. I know that they're using the technology more here so that the truck effectively shuts down after a certain period of time. They have to, it won't drive. And I've seen some other technology that they're using with like glasses. And it's got like a camera, and it measures the blink rate. And as the blink rate starts to slow down, that will alert the vehicle, sirens, all that kind of stuff. So they know they need to, pull over. So I know that they are making those advancements, but I think that it really does come down to the truck driver a lot of the times to look after themselves. And I get a lot of guys that they're not moving much. They're not taking their food with them. They're getting the foods from the truck stops and that kind of stuff, which is awesome around, here.
For sure.
So they're really not in a great, physical health or mental health, really. So I'm just curious, do you have any indication that like the work that you're doing and the positive impact that it's having on their lifestyles outside of the truck?
Absolutely. So when I do the physicals, I do a urinalysis, and I end up diagnosing diabetes on a daily basis.
Yeah, right.
It's crazy. So these guys, unfortunately, the biggest access, they've got these big growlers or these big cups, and they'll fill them with whatever soda choice their day is. And then all day long, they're just, drinking as
sugar.
they're mindlessly drinking, right? So it is not unusual for a new driver to put on 20, 25 pounds in the first year. And, it's insane because all the sugar leads to the inflammatory factor, which leads to arthritis and pain and disease and diabetes. Inflammation is the root of all evil.
Yeah.
And sugar and flour, which is predominantly what they're eating, just feeds that inflammatory factor.
Yes.
So it's a vicious cycle. And then here with COVID, a lot of our restaurants had shut down that were in the truck stop, which made only fast food accessible.
Yeah.
So the restaurant that was inside my truck stop is not reopening ever. They decided it just isn't going to reopen.
Oh, wow.
So now they have Subway, Popeyes, and Pizza Hut. And so that's the choice that they have at our stop. And of course, there's healthier choices you can get at Subway, but it still limits the type of food that, you can get. So the choices have gotten more difficult. They do offer some fresh foods, fruits, vegetables, and those kind of things, but they're not choosing them. So they're gaining weight, drinking, poorly, and it's just a vicious cycle, and they're not moving. So you're absolutely right.
Yeah. I'm just interested, you mentioned COVID there and the impact. Obviously, we had a bit of a chat before coming on air here about the impact there, and we're currently in lockdown. I don't know where you are. Everything's open and fine and dandy, and we get 4 cases and they lock down a state. It's hard to fathom the just different approaches that they've taken around the world. But one of the things that there's been a few things that I think came out of COVID that people just wouldn't have predicted beforehand. So I don't know what it's like in the US, but here they said that property prices are going to drop by 30%. Now, properties have done the opposite. They've gone through the roof here because for various reasons. I guess people are also trying to move out of the city into regional areas where there isn't COVID lockdown. They're moving interstate as well that haven't been, ours has been one of the worst hit states. And properties has gone through the roof. Car sales, gone through the roof. There's a number of different areas, like retail has gone through the roof online, which brings me to the bit about the truckies. So they've had to get more vehicles, which has been like car sales have just gone off the face of the earth. If you've got a used vehicle right now, you can probably get 20-30% more than you paid for it because they're just that scarce. So
we just did that actually.
Yeah, right.
We had bought a truck in 4 months ago, and my husband didn't like it. So we took it back and we got $7,000 more than the sticker price. We made money selling that truck to buy another one. And it was insane.
You just couldn't pick another climate like it.
Nope.
So the truckies have been, looking for trucks. The suppliers have been sourcing trucks. I don't know what it's like in the US, but as soon as they declared that there's a lockdown, toilet paper runs out. People go and get toilet paper. So then the trucks are trying to get the toilet paper out. So it's just been crazy. And so the truck drivers have been under a lot of pressure. So is that similar? Is that what's happened in over where you are too? The truckies have just been under more and more pressure?
Absolutely. So there was even a point where our drivers, way back in the beginning when the toilet paper shortage started,
Oh, so it happened there too.
Secured. Absolutely. So in the very beginning, it went crazy. Toilet paper, paper towels, disinfectant.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't realize, but there's certain trucks that end up getting, they get assisted and they get traveled with. So either they're guarded or they have police escorts. There's certain things that happen on a high load. And it used to only be, if it was something like a whole case of brand new Apple phones or, a case of, highly classified material, right? Those kind of things. But it was actually as crazy as to say that they were actually monitoring to and from toilet paper loads because people were just that nuts that they were afraid that they were going to, bombard the truck and steal stuff. And who would have ever thought toilet paper? That's insane.
I know.
And there was, not a shortage of preparing it. It was just all of a sudden people were hoarding it. So yes, we had that same exact thing, the same thing with car sales and the same thing with home sales. And I live in a house that we had just bought and it's brand new. And the neighborhood, it's taking 18 months is what they're saying now. They're putting people on a wait list and 18 months to go ahead and get a house built. And it's just, there's a shortage on getting windows in and doors.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they can put the block, but then all of a sudden they can't do anything else.
Yeah.
And so everything is stopped and halted because production is halted. And look at car sales, that chip thing, there's cars just sitting there that can't be completed because, there's a chip shortage. So completely everywhere. But my drivers are working like there's no tomorrow. They're busier than ever. So, and there's a driver shortage. I don't know if there's a driver shortage by you, but there's a driver shortage in the US and it's hard because to get people to come in and new drivers, like the average age of my driver that I see for DOT physicals, I'd say is around 50. And it's an aging population and, new people aren't coming in and the old people have to retire. So it's definitely a difficult situation.
So let's talk about some of the solutions because you do have a holistic approach to looking after people because you could, let's face it, you could just test people and say, okay, on your bike, but that's not your approach. And I really love that about you because I think the holistic approach to taking care of someone is much more than now I might get into trouble for saying this, but if I say a local chiropractor here, they come in, they crunch you, you go, and it's really get you through to the next crunch. There's no holistic approach to looking after the person at all. Right. And that's what I like about how you do it. So you mentioned before about inflammation, which is the root of all evil, and most people don't really realize that what it does. So talk about how you manage that. And then you can talk about the new products and the new board position that you're on.
Absolutely. I actually want to take one step back because you had talked about mental health as well. And I had written a book about 7 steps to a stress-free DOT physical because mental health is so important.
Yes.
And stress can cause the body to be inflammatory as well. So I know you guys talk about mental health on your show. I've watched your show before, and being able to work the mental health as well will actually decrease some of the triggers for the physical health, which is why the book was so important because knowing and preparing for your day can help decrease that as well. But
that's if I could just stop you there for a sec, that's actually a really good point because I'm assuming that probably 99% of your truck drivers are also men.
Yes. Well, right? not quite that much, but yes, most of them.
A high proportion, yeah. So I can speak on behalf of men here, not truck drivers, but me as a man, men in general, we tend to shut everything up. Okay, we internalize it. Now, if I'm in a truck alone by myself for a long period of time, then all that just builds up, doesn't it? So you need
for sure.
You need to have those tools to be able to manage that. So again, that's another step there that you're taking to look after the holistic approach. So
Absolutely.
Just wanted to chuck that in. So yeah, keep on going.
Absolutely. And treating the whole body is important, because if your knee hurts, right, but you're really inflamed everywhere else, well, you might treat the knee, but like you said, in a minute or two, it's going to come right back, right? So you need to treat the entire body. And the inflammatory factor is fed by so many things from the outside, what you eat, toxins that might be in the area. If you're dealing with a viral load, if you're dealing with bacteria, anything that goes into the body and creates issues, right? And we need to find a way to decrease all of those things and make the body treat itself, because ultimately the body is an amazing thing. And if you give it what it needs to treat itself, all of those can be helped, right? And being inflammatory factors, the root of all disease, I've done a great study on what's called glutathione. And glutathione is the master antioxidant of the body. And it's actually been studied. There are over 160,000 published journals that you can Google and look up, and if you want to read the sciencey stuff on glutathione, right? So that's 2 or 3 times more than even vitamin C. Everybody's heard of vitamin C, but very few people have actually heard of glutathione. Yeah. And you can live without, water for a little bit. You can live without food for weeks. You actually can only live without glutathione for seconds. So it is in every single cell. And what it does is it actually goes into the cell, and I'm gonna get sciencey for a second. It goes into the cell, into the mitochondria, which is the little engine that could in that cell, and it affects the ATP. And the ATP is the fuel that goes into that mitochondria. So what does that mean? It means even your fat cells, the lazy cells that don't do much, have mitochondria in them, right? They may only have like 2, but you go to the important organs like your heart, your brain, your lungs, kidneys, and they may have up to 2,500 cells. So how do we feed this? You feed it with glutathione, and your body naturally makes it. But around the age of 20 is when we start making less of it. And it goes down about 10% a year every decade, or 10% every decade, right? So by the time you're hitting 50, 60, the amount of glutathione in those cells is depleting, which is why you see all the disease increasing. So we have come with a way to actually to get glutathione into that cell, because it's very difficult. Glutathione's a big molecule. It's a tripeptide, meaning it's built of 3 amino acids, and it was always hard to get in. So the most effective way was IV prior to coming up with this new technology. You can find it in a pill, but the acid breaks it down in the stomach, and it renders it ineffective. So the company that I'm working with, and I have just been named to the medical advisory board, and it's a huge honor, has found a way to nanosize it. So it made it itty bitty, and they wrap it in a water molecule, and it actually absorbs inside those cheeks. And when it does, you swish it just like so, and then you swallow it. And the swishing, it absorbs in the cheeks and underneath the tongue, and it actually gets in the bloodstream in about 70 seconds. And it's phenomenal to see the science that's happening with it. And I have my own story of what's happened with it, but the science alone is just mind blowing.
It's really fascinating. And I mean, obviously I'm obsessed with success. I'm obsessed with health and wellness, and I'm about to give the product a go, because you just recently introduced it. So I'm waiting for it to come. You mentioned about the environment. So we put our bodies in a certain environment to enable our immune system to thrive and grow and so forth. And I think what I took from what you were just saying is it's almost like leaving the junk out and the rats come. And that's what's happening inside your body, where you're, like you said before, you're having the sugary drinks, you're having the fatty food and so forth. You're really providing an environment in your body for the rats to come. And that's what causes the disease and so forth. So the glutathione is our best antioxidant. It starts to deplete, and this product that you're holding right here is the key to it. And it sounds fanciful, doesn't it? That you would just swish it around in your mouth and think, oh, well, yeah, it's absorbed in your body and so forth. But tell us about maybe your success stories, some of the success stories, so people can get an understanding of what it actually does.
Absolutely. So a few years ago, we had built a brand new home and they didn't put the vapor barrier into the concrete. So we had moisture coming in, and then with the AC, it was just a perfect storm. So we ended up growing mold in the walls and the ceiling. And so we were unaware of it because you couldn't see it, right? It was just, it was growing inside. And so I got incredibly sick. My son and my husband were getting sick. My dog got sick. I reached out to 7 different doctors, and I'm a doctor myself, and had no idea, what to do with this because we're not taught this in school. And so I even went to an infectious disease doc, and he was like, there's nothing I can do for you. I don't know how to treat you. So I ended up with a functional medicine doctor over here, Dr. Crozier. He's absolutely amazing. And he had led me to a precursor to this new technology. So it was a glutathione precursor, and getting that in my body, although not as effective as it does now, was able to help push all of that out of my system. So I literally didn't know if I was going to be able to practice anymore. I was sick as could be. And by doing that, it actually gave me all my energy back. It gave me, got rid of my brain fog. It made me feel better. It got rid of all of that toxic load. Now with that old product, it took me almost 90 days to feel that, right? Where with this one actually getting into the cheeks and being the entire glutathione cell, I have patients that are feeling it instantly, or even in a day or 2 days. And so the turnaround, the difference is like the phones, the old flip phones technology, they worked, but not quite as effective, where this one is more like your smartphone, right? You have to follow the technology. So I'm thrilled and thankful that he led me to that previous product because it changed my life. But the technology and the transmission and bypassing the gut with the NutraSwish is amazing. So you can actually get that in. And what that glutathione cell did for me is it pushed all of those mold toxins out so that my load of mold inside my body had been decreased. And now I run like the Energizer Bunny. My day starts around 5:30. I get home in the evening around 6 o'clock at night. I have some family time and dinner. And then I go to bed around 10 or 11, and then I start my day all over again. No longer do I feel like I need naps, and no longer do I feel sluggish. And I run full cylinder all day long. I run my clinics, and then I run the element of this business, and I've got a few other things going on. So it's been amazing. And I feel better today at 42 than I have ever felt in my entire life.
So just to put that in perspective, did you change any other aspects of your life in terms of exercise and other nutrition aspects and so forth? Or this was the only thing?
Not at that point. I had already had a lot of life changes prior to that. I live a paleo diet, so I eat fruits, vegetables, and meat. I don't do any sugar. If unnatural sugars, I do the sugars that are obviously in fruits and vegetables. But I had done all of that before because that's what I knew to do. Right. That's what my education had led me to do. So I had done all of that. I do yoga about 3 or 4 times a week, 45 minutes of yoga in the morning. I actually gave up my yoga this morning to meet with you.
Oh, dear. Sorry.
That's okay. I'll do it tonight. But it's amazing because that helps the mind and the body. So I was doing all of that anyway. Right. And so the only change that I had made was going to a glutathione product. And it's amazing because the mold, no matter how good I was doing, no matter how helpful I was to feed my body properly, there was nothing I could do about it. The mold was just bombarding me over and over. And we did move out, but the illness didn't end when we moved out, right? Because it was already in my cells. So it wasn't until I could find a way to go in and clean that garbage up. And actually the glutathione goes into the cells and pumps the crap back out, right? So when a cell loses the glutathione, the cell actually dies and goes to apoptosis and kills itself. So this went in and revitalized those cells. And by revitalizing those cells gave me my health back. And so that's my personal experience. And I could go over and over other patients' experiences, but glutathione is the key to life. And to find it in a new technology that is accessible in the cheeks, bypasses the gut for all those people that have gut issues, and makes it accessible in as soon as 70 seconds is mind-blowing.
Yeah, it's fascinating. So tell me, so you swish it around and then you swallow it.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So I won't do it for the full time, right? But
Okay.
you fill this cap, right?
Yeah.
And then you throw it in and you just stick it under your tongue, and you can do another one. Now, for the sake of time, right? I didn't swish very long. You swish anywhere from 30 seconds to a minute, but I wanted to keep talking, right? So you go ahead and that absorption's in those cheeks. So I never do it less than a minute because I want maximum absorption, but they say you can do it in 30 seconds. So it's just that fast, and then it's in your system, and then you go on with your day.
So why do you swallow it? You said you bypass your gut, but it's going into your tummy. But
so there are a few other things that are in here. So the glutathione is what I talk about, but there's curcumin in here. There's some other things that are fantastic, and those actually have gut transmission as well as the glutathione. But even the small particles that may get broke up by the acid in the stomach, they can go in the system, they can absorb and do other things. So you still want to go ahead and swallow it to get those other elements to go through, but the maximum absorption is in those cheeks.
Yeah, wow. I know that there'll be people watching this and thinking, oh, yeah, it sounds like it's just how could that possibly work? I always encourage people to be open to new opportunities, because I look at where my health is now compared to where it was, say, even 10 years ago. And I look at the changes that I've made that have just been life-changing for me. And some of those have been changes to the way that I exercise. Some of them have been changes to the food that I eat and just the timing of the food that I eat. And then some of it comes down to supplementation as well, because it's a holistic approach when it comes to the way that I look at my health. And if I look at the most recent things I've introduced into my body, there was a time when I would have said, oh, you're kidding. But because, say, like the isogenics products, for instance, they were introduced to me by an Olympic gold medalist. And I figured if they're good enough for an Olympic gold medalist to take, and they're putting their reputation on it, then it's worth me at least giving it a go. And it wasn't until I took them that I realized, oh gosh, I haven't felt this before. And so when it comes to this product, it doesn't mean that I take anything and everything, but because you've referred it and you're a trusted friend of mine, so that's why I'm going to give it a go. So I think if you're listening to this and you're closed to it, I mean, obviously I'll try it. I'll do other podcasts on this, so maybe we can connect again to talk about it. And so
absolutely,
I'll tell you what what my results were, because it's through the success stories that you are prepared to give things a chance, to feel it through your body, and everybody will feel it differently. But I think I just want to plant the seed with people that don't just close your mind to this, because I have no idea what it's going to do, but I trust you, and open to having a better level. But I don't know whether you've noticed this with people, but I say to people, if you're living your life here in terms of energy, say here, but really you should be up here, but you've always been down here, you have no idea what this looks like. And so why not give something a go so that you can experience that? Because I say to people when they come into me, I say, look, what are your energy levels like? I say, oh, they're pretty good. And, you can see that they're overweight. They've told me their lifestyles. And I said, if I could inject you with my energy right now, you'd be like, oh, wow, how do you get that?
Right.
So it's like it's getting people to understand that. I don't know whether that's what you find.
I do, absolutely. And I'll bring that back to even my patients that I diagnose with diabetes, and bring it back all the way down. I've got patients that come in that you don't know what you don't know, right? So you don't know that you're sick, and you're just used to living this life. And so I'll send them out, and of course they all grumble and they're not happy to hear the diagnosis that I'm giving them. And I help them through it, right? As a dietitian as well. I was trained and I did that for many, many years. And they'll come back to me and be like, you changed my life. Now I'm getting those same experiences with this because I had a guy that 2 days ago, well, I guess it's been 4 days now. Sorry. Anyway, came in and, he's like, I'll give it a whirl. So he left and he called me 2 days later and said, I had no idea that I didn't feel good. He's like, because this is insane. He's like, if this keeps going, I don't even know what I'm going to do. And I did a study on my truck drivers. That's actually how I ended up on the medical advisory board. So I gave this product free to a bunch of truck drivers and I monitored them for 3 to 4 months, right? And so the ones that actually put it in their mouth had amazing results. And I actually numbered the bottles because I'd get a few that are like, they don't work. And I do it. I'm like, really? What number bottle are you on? They're like, oh, I'm on 4. And they should have been on like bottle 30, right? So, and they were itty bitty bottles. They weren't this big one. Yeah. But the ones that actually put it in their mouth, swished it around like they were supposed to, had phenomenal results. They were able to sleep better. They were able more alert. They got rid of drinking coffee. I haven't had caffeine in probably 8 or 9 months. And now when I drink any caffeinated anything, which I don't do, I drink decaf, I get jittery because I just plain don't need it. And so they got rid of the energy drinks, the Red Bulls, all of those things. And I call it clean energy because it's just giving the body what it needs. And so when they're on a long drive and they start to feel sluggish, they'll grab the bottle, swish, and then they can keep on going because it's that fast that it helps the alertness. And that's what drew me to it. I want to give my drivers what they need to stay safe on the road. And so from the drivers, it went to everybody else because, I just love people in general and I want to make them feel better. But my ultimate goal in the beginning was, how do I get my drivers from point A to point B healthier, all the way head to toe? And that's what led me to, the NutraSwish product.
It's just so simple. It really is a super supplement, isn't it?
It is, absolutely.
So I want to be, courteous to your time and you being able to get on with the rest of your day. I'm going to put a link in below this podcast when I post it. But what is a way that maybe people can get in touch with you, get in touch with the product, give it a try? What's the best?
Absolutely. I'll go ahead and give you a link, and you can put that on there. But my email is drdixon@drivershealthclinic.com. And then I'll give you the Neumi link as well. But I respond to email, so they can find me on email. All the social medias are Drivers Health Clinic, DRIVERS. Don't forget that S because it won't get you anywhere without it. So Drivers Health Clinic, and I'm completely accessible with the time difference. I may not be instantly accessible, but I love to help people in general and answer questions. And you can find my website, which is drivershealthclinic.com. You can Google me in my book. I also have a lot of videos on YouTube. If you're a driver, I answer a lot of questions. And if there's anything that I can do for people, just look me up and I'm happy to help.
Fantastic. Well done. I'm really excited. I can't wait for, my products to come. I think it's been great here, the value that you've added to the audience here today. But before you go, I want to have a bit of fun with you. Is that okay?
Absolutely.
I've got a series of some questions that I want to ask you. They're sort of quick, fun ones to finish off our interview. All right. So you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. What's the most impactful book you've read?
JT Fox's Millionaire Underdog.
Yeah, good work.
It has changed my business life.
Yeah, nice work. I can agree with that one. A place you've never been to but would love to visit?
I have been blessed to travel extensively. I've been to 14 countries, traveled completely around the world on a ship, actually. But I would love to go to Alaska. Haven't been there. I want to take an Alaskan cruise.
Okay. Have you been to Australia?
I have not. I have not. We bordered, I went to Africa, which is on that side of the world, but have not actually made it to Australia.
Yeah, what I always notice about Florida on my LinkedIn profile, I always get sent job offers and
Well,
job
come on over.
applications from Melbourne in Florida, because I'm in Melbourne,
Ah,
Australia,
yes.
and I think, come
Yes,
on,
yes,
I'm
yes.
wrong country. Uh, okay, you're on a deserted island, right? You can
Uh-oh.
only take one thing with you. What would you take?
Well, now I'm going to take my NutraSwish. I'm going to feel better because I don't know if I'm going to ever get anything again.
Do you know what? Every person I ask that question, nobody ever says their partner.
Yeah, well,
There's already enough coconuts there. Favorite food?
Oh, goodness. Wow. You may have stumped me with that
It's
one.
got to be like buffalo
Um,
or something if you're a paleo person. Some meat-rich product.
uh,
Ostrich.
it, no, I love a good steak. That's for sure. I'm not gonna lie, a nice, solid quality piece of dark chocolate.
Oh, okay. What percent?
Oh, I like it bitter. So like
Oh, for like 90.
70,
Oh,
80, something like
right.
that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Nice. What is your most useless talent?
Um,
What
a
unique
good
skill?
college trick, I learned to tie cherry strings with my tongue.
To what?
So in college, you get a lot of, drinks by performing odd tricks, and you can stick a whole cherry in my mouth and I can, the string, and I can wrap it up and tie it in a knot and pull it out and it's
Oh,
knotted.
the stalk of it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, that's a useless trick. Oh, look at you go. What do you love about what you do?
I love changing lives. I absolutely love seeing somebody that came in one state and left my office and comes back 2 weeks, 2 months, 3 months later and says, "You have changed my life."
Yeah,
That just warms my heart. And that's why I went in to do what I do.
yeah, yeah. I can relate to that. Beautifully said. Now, this one might challenge you. What's one thing that you wish you could change about yourself?
Mm.
And say nothing. I'm perfect the way that I am. What are you talking about?
No, there's so many actually.
Mm,
Being able to balance what I
okay.
do and what I love is very difficult.
Yeah.
I have a 17-year-old son who I absolutely adore, and obviously I love my husband. Being able to balance a little better would be great because I do devote a lot of time to business,
Mm,
um, because I give of myself so much. I don't pay attention to my own needs and family needs as much. That sounds bad because that's not what I mean. I'm there for them every night and weekend.
I know.
But if I could change anything, it have more time in the day because I need to get more balance in what I do, um, and pour into, I don't know, more.
Yeah, I don't know that we ever get that right when you're
I
an
don't think we
entrepreneur.
do.
No.
No, it's very, very difficult. And I do devote that's why we're doing this in the morning, and thank you for doing it in your evening, because I am gone all day long and I try and do almost nothing and shut my phone off the second I walk in the house.
Yeah.
And
Nice.
I devote my
Nice skill.
evenings and my weekends to my family because I am gone a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. Fair enough. All right. Second last question. You've got a $60 million yacht, one of those big yachts.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I know. Lucky you. Look at you go.
Right.
What do you name it? What name are you splashing on the side of it?
Oh, um, finally there.
Nice. Okay, last question. If you could, I don't know if I've written that the right way. Okay. You could take this two ways. Let's go with meet. If you could meet any celebrity, living or passed away, who would it be?
If we're going living, funny enough, I heard this question on the radio the other day. Living, um, I love The Rock.
Okay.
So absolutely love him. But I have gotten the chance to meet some amazing people. So I did
Yes.
an interview with Dr. Phil, and with the organization that we're with, I have had the opportunity to meet many, many famous people. But I would love to meet The Rock, and he's one of my bucket lists. That's for sure.
Yeah, right. Nice. That's all of my questions. Thank you for sharing a little bit
Thanks,
about
Rob.
yourself. Hey, this has been great today. I've really enjoyed it. Thanks so much. We'll put some links in below this podcast so that people can get in touch with you, get in touch about the product. Thanks for sharing your doctorisms with us today about the science behind the product and just the work that you do. Keep on doing it, because I mean, I don't think I said it at the start, but congratulations on all your success. Congratulations on your appointment to the board. It's really exciting. It's exciting seeing you go places.
Absolutely. Thanks so much. And I love the opportunity to be able to talk with all of your people.
Thank you. We'll talk again once I've swished a few times.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thanks. Bye.